Welcome to the flipped instructional session for Math 08A for Unit 402, Point Slope Form. Our objectives today are to represent a linear function as an equation in point slope form, given a point on the line and a slope of the line, represent a linear function as an equation in point slope form given 2 points on the line, and to represent a linear function as a graph given its equation in point slope form. So some of the vocab that we will need today, a coordinate is just an ordered pair. And an ordered pair comes in the form x, y, and that tells us the location a point is on a graph. So this would be 3, 7. So we go in the x direction and then the y direction for our ordered pair. A linear equation, when graphed, makes a line. And we've talked about a few forms. So a linear equation makes a line. We've talked about a few forms of a linear equation. Standard, ax plus by equals c. And more common would be slope-intercept that we've talked about. Y equals mx plus b. And today we're going to talk about one more, point slope, which we'll discuss here in a minute. But all three of these are linear equations. And then finally, slope, which we see both in slope-intercept, m, and point slope, m. So as the variable m, rise over run is something we talk about, steepness. But more importantly, it has a formula. And slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we get that from two ordered pairs on the line. So slope is really important, and we're going to be using that like we did in Unit 3. We'll be using it again here in Unit 4. So here's a question asking, what is the slope of the line containing the points 3, 4, and 5, 6? So we just talked about that slope has a formula. Slope is represented by the variable m. And the x's and y's are just from an ordered pair. You can flip these and make these the 2's and these the 1's, but you got to keep them in order. So the 2's go together and the 1's go together. So let's just read it this way. 6 minus 4 all over 5 minus 3. So we get 2 over 2, which reduces to 1. So this slope is 1. So as a reminder, 1, or any number, even negative, if you get a whole number as a slope, we rewrite this as that number over 1. And what this tells us is for these positive ones, we go up 1 over 1. This one we go up 2 over 2, or excuse me, over 1. Up 3 over 1. For the negative means we go down 6, still to the right 1. Down 5 to the right 1, down 4 to the right 1. So the negative tells us to go down, but we're always going to the right. So just remember, if you have a whole number, that denominator is an understood 1. Write the equation of the line that passes through the point 2, 4 and has a slope of 3 using point slope form. So in Unit 3, we saw the word slope-intercept. So you do need to know that these are two separate things. Slope-intercept and point slope. So we're dealing with point slope today. In point slope, that equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So you'll see that we have some new variables in here. We have a y1 and an x1, and we also have m. So I'd like to start with m first. And remember, m, we can use a formula if we're given 2 points. In this case, they just told us a slope of 3. M is 3. So that makes it a lot easier. Now the point, remember, and I'm going to go back to black because yellow is probably not going to show up. The point, remember, is just an ordered pair x, y, but we plug this in for the x1 and the y1, and we keep these as the variable. Just like we did when we had y equals mx plus b, we had y and x still as a variable. So we're going to have y minus y1. So our y1 is 4. So y minus 4 equals m, which we just said was 3, times the quantity x minus x1, so x minus 2. And that's it. So you'll note we have a minus 4 and a minus 2, and our original point was positive 2, positive 4. So you should always note that these signs are going to be opposite of what you see here. So we'll look at another one with a negative to see that here in a bit. What is the slope of the line that passes through the points 1, 8, and 2, 10? So we're going to do the slope of the line, and then we're going to write it in point slope form, just to get some practice. So slope, remember, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I like to use this one is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, just to keep it straight. So I'd have 10 minus 8 over 2 minus 1. So I get 2 over 1. And you can leave it as 2 over 1, or you can write it as 2. Either way is fine. So if we're going to write this now in point slope form, which remember, we just did, you're like, oh no, how do I know which one really is x1 and which one is really y1? Well, you can actually write it either way. And many times on the multiple choice, it'll ask you to write it in 2 ways. So we'll do it in 2 ways. Let's use the first ordered pair over here. And then we'll use the second ordered pair over here. So the first ordered pair, y minus y1. So y minus 8, because that was our y1, equals m, which we just found to be 2, x minus x1, so x minus 1. So that's equation 1. We could also write it using 2, 10 as our ordered pair. So y minus y1, we would say y minus 10 equals m, which we said was 2 times x minus 2. Both of these are correct. So here's an example of how that works. Write 2 equations in point slope form. So remember, point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 of a line that passes through the points 3, 6, and 5, 2. So the very first thing we need is the slope. You're always going to want to find the slope first. The last one that we asked us for point slope, they gave it to us. So now we're solving for it. So I'm going to use 5, 2 and 3, 6. So here's my x2, y2, x1, y1. So I have 2 minus 6 all over 5 minus 3. So I get negative 4 over 2, which ends up being negative 2. So my 2 equations. We'll use this, use the pen instead of the highlighter. 3, 6 for going to be our equation 1. Our equation 2, let's do something I can actually work with here. is equation 2. So equation 1, we're going to use the 3, 6. We still haven't seen a negative. That's all right, 3, 6. So y minus 6 equals negative 2x minus 3. So we plugged in the slope for m, and we plugged in 3, 6 for x1, y1. The second equation, y minus 2, here's our 2, equals negative 2x minus 5. What is the equation in point-slope form of the line containing the points negative 2, negative 9, and 6, 7? Point slope. So we need to always find the slope. Change in y over change in x. 7 minus negative 9 over 6 minus negative 2. Change, 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 change. 16 over 8, which is 2. We're kind of obsessed with 2 being the slope in this. So we can see we have 2 and 2, so these don't work. They have negative 2 as the slope. So here they have 6, 7, and here they have a 2 and a 9. So we need to see which one is right. Y minus y1. Y minus 7, yep, that would work. 2 times x minus 6, this works. Let's see why this doesn't work. If we have a negative, y minus y1 equals slope, m, times x minus x1. So when we have double negative, this goes change, 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 change. So we have y plus 9 equals 2x plus 2. So I mentioned earlier to look at these signs, that these are minus and these are always plus. Well, if you have negatives, those are pluses in here. So the sign here is always opposite what was given in the ordered pair. Be sure to check your Class Connect schedule for the flipped follow-up or a help lab coming up if you need extra support. Thanks.